The threat of extremist groups in this country has been a growing concern for law enforcement for some time. And this morning, adding to the discussion about that, a new study that tells us Alberta has a disproportionate number of people who sympathize with radical ideologies. Michael Serapio has been looking through an advanced copy of a study due out in a couple of weeks' time. Michael, it's disquieting to say the least. What does it say?
Well, essentially, the first and foremost part is what you say, that there is a disproportionate number of extremist groups within the province of Alberta. But the other headline in this, Heather, is the fact that it's being driven by the internet. Now, this is a report, as you say, going to be released next couple of weeks for the Alberta-based Organization for the Prevention of Violence. And that is a community-led group in Alberta which aims to understand and prevent extreme violence. Its website cites relationships with the Edmonton Police, the RCMP, the City of Edmonton. And while in recent months there has been talk of the growing so-called patriot militia groups within Alberta, like the Soldiers of Odin and the Northern Guard, they're not alone. The report also says that within Alberta are also extreme groups of the left, such as the Antifa movement, anti-government groups like the Freemen's Movement, as well as white supremacist groups such as the Aryan Guard. And Alberta has had a disproportionate number of people leaving the province to fight for jihadist groups overseas like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Now, why is this happening? Well, the report looks at the young population within Alberta, its recent economic hardships as people lose employment, and the increasing role the internet is playing in the radicalization of Canadians. To that, take a listen to John McCoy. He is the Executive Director of Alberta's Organization for the Prevention of Violence.
It's been a game changer. What's happening online right now when it comes to violent extremism, when it comes to terrorism, when it comes to the ability of extremist communities to establish themselves, for individuals to, in a more anonymous and safe environment, to explore these ideologies and communities and find one that fits for them.
And more likely to embrace radical ideas here, Heather.
So in terms of, there's the content, I'm wondering what was the thinking behind this? Why did the group decide to do this study at this time, Michael?
Well, they say if they want to prevent violence, extreme violence, and this is the whole purpose of this group, well, they need to go beyond the understanding of 9/11, because since 9/11, really the focus has been on radical jihadists. Intelligence communities have been focused on that. Research has been focused on that. But to really fight violent extremism going forward, the group argues you need to know that the roots of extremism come from many different places. Take a listen once again to John McCoy.
Associating this problem with one particular ideology, as we've tended to do since the events of the 11th of September 2001, is not particularly productive from a prevention perspective. If we want to prevent this, we have to understand that diversity of threats, and we have to have evidence on that diversity of threats.
And right now the focus is Alberta because this is an Alberta group, but they also point out, Heather, that to truly understand it, they actually need more data, not just in the province of Alberta, which has done the work, but other provinces across the country need to pick up the research as well.
Michael, thank you for all of that
You're
this
welcome.
morning. That's Michael Serapio.